And as that recovery continues, the immediate worry and concern is for families and community members as they cope and deal with the loss of life and destruction of their surroundings. Jeff Gorter is the Vice President of Clinical Crisis Response at R3 Continuum, an organization that helps people and organizations recover from crisis and disaster events, and joins us now live. Thank you for joining us here on Scripps News. So if you could tell us how your company R3 Continuum activates in a crisis situation like this.
Oh, thank you. At R3 Continuum, we respond between 2,000 to 3,000 times a month across the U.S., particularly for businesses when a crisis happens. Certainly natural disasters, but factory accidents, active shooters, other kinds of events. Whenever a tragedy strikes a workplace, R3 sends trained clinicians on site to be able to offer psychological first aid, that immediate care that is necessary, and as Michael's report so powerfully illustrated, is needed at a time like this.
And so, Jeff, you have people on the ground in Texas. What are they doing right now?
Well, there are 5 things that at R3 we have found that in the immediate aftermath, in the early stages, that are the most effective things to promote. First and foremost, safety, and obviously physical safety, but also psychological safety, to know that you are back in control of yourself. Next is connectedness, that desire to say, am I going through this journey alone, or have I been able to reconnect with family, with friends, with others that support me, and that I don't have to walk this alone? Next is calming, being able to regain a sense of control over one's own body, being able to control one's breathing, things like that. The fourth is competence or a sense of agency, that while I couldn't do anything about the tragedy, where it goes from here is up to me. And then the final thing we hope to bring and communicate every time is hope. Is the sense that we will be able to get through this, the sun will come up again, and that there will be a future. And what does that look like for you?
And so the rescue workers there, first responders, volunteers, I mean, they're on the ground. They've been working tirelessly for almost a week to get through this. And between the devastation, the exhaustion, the sheer tragic nature of it all, how do you reach out to them as they're going through this? Because they are constantly working. And we've heard some of the officials saying that people, even though they get a day or two off, are coming back to help because they feel like they can't take any time off. So what do you do for those folks right there at those moments?
So being able to be there with them, the power of presence, if you will, being able to be present with them and to just know that they can reach out if they needed to for even just a few moments, to be able to talk about how one particular situation may have poked through the armor. First responders in particular, they have their game face on. They are doing what they are trained to do, what they are motivated to do, and they do it incredibly well. And so they are actively working right now. But it's also true that when they give themselves the time, that's when they have an opportunity. They only will take it for a brief period. It's not, I'm going to sit down and talk for hours. No, what do I need to do to get through the next hour, the next afternoon, the next day?
And what about those who went through this or are still going through this as they wait word on a missing loved one? How can you help them there at this moment?
You know, for so many of them, there is no end to this until their loved one has been recovered, until they're able to exercise some grief and have some closure to it. But in that process, one thing that is important to remember, huge events like this, huge tragedies like this, it's human nature to think that the answer, the response to it must be equally huge, equally overwhelming. But the reality is, it's not one grand thing that's going to get you through it. It's 1,000 small things that help take you through that path. Being able to reach out to loved ones and touch base with them frequently, even exercising to get rid of that adrenaline and the neurochemicals all released by this tragedy. Engaging in faith practices, if one follows a practice, journaling. Now, those things may seem small, inconsequential in the face of this event, but again, it's 1,000 small things over time that will get you through that. And so giving ourselves the grace and space, giving those around us the grace and space to realize it's going to take time. And I don't have to do one big thing to make it all go away, just 1,000 small things to manage.
And Jeff, for those of us watching around the country, what advice can you give to us when, so many of us feel utterly hopeless, which sometimes can lead to feelings of despair? How can we all process what has happened and is still happening?
One of the key things that folks often overlook is to engage in some helping activity, whether it is donating funds, donating time, whether it is raising awareness in your community around situations like this, that being able to engage in helping does restore a sense of agency. And it's surprising. It helps those, of course, for whom it is intending, but it has surprising impact and benefits for us as well.
And would you also recommend, for those of us watching, take a moment and step away? I think we all feel a little guilty. So many people are going through such a tragedy. How can I go out to dinner with my friends? But is it a good idea for us to sort of release as well? I mean, we want to be concerned, but not to internalize all of this all the time.
Absolutely. And at R3, we have seen that over and over again, particularly because, again, it's human nature. I crave information. I want to know more. I want to get further details. And I think that somehow, if I could do that, it'll help me to wrap my mind around it. But the reality is we do need to take a break. We do need to modulate how much exposure we give ourselves, and that stepping away and engaging in regular life activities is not disrespectful. There is surprising power in the mundane. It's one of the things we crave. I want to do something that looks and feels and sounds normal. And I just need moments of that to help me get through this journey.
And I'm sure giving permission, hearing you give permission, things like that helps as well. And before I let you go, I want to quickly look forward to months, even a year down the road. How do we avoid or work through post-traumatic stress syndrome, which is likely to affect so many going through this? What are some things, some signs to watch for also when it comes to PTSD?
Well, and again, at R3, we have seen that surprisingly, the majority of people will recover and exercise their resilience. But that is not to say that PTSD doesn't happen. Of course, it can. And that for folks to be on guard for that things remain as active as it was at the time, immediately after, that I feel as agitated, as fearful. My sleep continues to be disturbed. I find that my eating patterns have dropped down. I continue to perseverate, to go back to those images and those sources of information even months later. And now I'm just reliving it and sort of re-engaging with it. And so being able to be mindful of that, and of course, seeking out professional help either through their employee assistance program as in a workplace, or through whatever behavioral health services they may have or their community may offer.
Jeff Gorter, Vice President of Clinical Crisis Response at R3 Continuum. Thank you so much for your time and your insight this morning, and for all of the efforts to help those affected by this tragedy. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Holly.